Hi, boys and girls. We're going to continue with our social studies lesson that you started last week. So you will need your social studies textbook. So if you do not have your social studies textbook with you, go ahead and pause the video and go get that. The first thing that we're going to do before we get started on this week's lesson is we're going to review some of the vocabulary words that Mrs. Harriger taught you last week. Now, the first vocabulary word that we're going to talk about is the word community. Community. Remember that community is the place that you live in. So if you live in Bath, then you are a member of Bath's community. If you live in Elida, you're a member of Elida's community. If you live in Cairo, you're a member of their community. So that is community. Community is the place that you live in. Your next vocabulary word that we're going to review is citizen. Now, a citizen is someone who lives in a community or someone who lives in a place. So if you belong to the Bath community, you are a citizen of the Bath community. Just the same as if you lived in Cairo. You are a citizen of Cairo. Now, we can be citizens of the places that we live, our communities that we live in, but we're also citizens of Allen County. Or you are a citizen of the state of Ohio. And you're also citizens of the United States of America. So that's what a citizen is. It's someone who lives in a place or a community. Remember that only humans can be citizens. Your next vocabulary word that we're going to talk about is culture. Remember, culture is a way of life. I know when Mrs. Harriger taught you about culture, she put out her 4 fingers. A way of life. Do that again. A way of life. So culture is a way of life. And we learn about people's culture in different ways. We actually learn them in 5 ways. Through art, through music, through food, through language, and through clothing. So culture is a way of life. And the last vocabulary word that we're going to learn about is business. Remember, a business is a place that provides us our wants and our needs. So it's a place that provides us our wants and our needs. Well, ask yourself, what is a want? A want is something I really, really want to have, but I don't need it. So you might say, I really want an Xbox, or I really want an iPhone. Those are things that you really want, but you don't really have to have them. A need is something that you have to have in order to survive, like food, clothing, shelter. Those are things that you need in order to survive. So boys and girls, those are our vocabulary words that you learned about last week. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's lesson. So I need you to grab your social studies books, and now please turn to page 17. Turn to page 17. This is what the page will look like. It's titled Coming Together. Follow along as I read Coming Together. It says most communities have places where people can come together. Schools are places where people come together to learn or hold meetings. People can also learn by using books and other materials at a library. Communities have places where people can spend their free time. These may include parks, community centers, and playgrounds. Some communities have interesting places to visit. Theaters may offer movies, plays, and concerts. A community might also have museums. People visit a museum to see objects from other places and times, such as clothing from the past. They can also see art there. So boys and girls, you see that the word museum is highlighted in yellow. That's another important word that you're going to be learning about this week in social studies. A museum is to see objects from other places and times. If you look at the picture above, you can see that these children are looking at pictures of art. It says in the caption, "Children study art at the Guggenheim Museum in New York City." This is inside the Guggenheim Museum, and this is what it actually looks like on the outside. Boys and girls, that is a museum. Allen County also has a museum that you can go visit to learn about things from the past from Allen County. Boys and girls, in Allen County, you have your own special museum called the Allen County Museum. You can go visit the Allen County Museum and explore and learn about things that happened in Allen County. Here is just a few pictures of what you would be able to see in the Allen County Museum. If you wanted to learn more about the Allen County Museum before visiting the Allen County Museum, you can go to their website and look at all the different things that the Allen County Museum has. Another museum that's in Cleveland, Ohio, is called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's all about music and different rock and roll music icons. This is another place that you can go visit and learn more about history and specifically rock and roll. You can even travel south to Dayton, Ohio, and go and see the Air Force Museum in Dayton. So boys and girls, there are many places to explore and learn about history, whether it be in Allen County, Cleveland, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, or even someplace out of state. Okay, boys and girls, turn to page 18. We're going to read about following rules and laws. Most of the time, people get along with one another. Sometimes they do not. Families often make rules to help keep order and peace in their homes. At school, teachers have rules to help students learn and stay safe. Raising your hand before speaking is an example of a rule. Classroom rules tell students how to behave. Communities also have rules. The rules that a community makes are called laws. People must follow the laws of their community. Laws keep order in a community. Laws help keep people safe. For example, traffic laws help people travel safely. If you look down at the bottom of this picture, you can see that the crossing guard helps students obey the law. What law are they obeying? What do you think, boys and girls? If you guess the law is to use a crosswalk when crossing the street, you're right. What are some other laws that your community may have? Maybe they have following the speed limit. I'm sure that's a law in every community. Or wearing a seatbelt when you're driving in a car. Is that a law? Or maybe having a helmet on when you ride your bike. Every community has their own set of rules. And remember, their rules are called laws. What are some rules that you might have at home? Maybe some rules that you might have at home are no running in the house, doing your homework right away after school, making your bed, cleaning your room. What about school? What are some school rules? Or classroom rules? Using the playground equipment correctly? No running in the hallways? No throwing food in the cafeteria? Rules and laws help keep the community or school safe. They help keep law and order. Let's look at page 19, boys and girls. Page 19 is a community government. Most communities have a government to make laws and see that they are followed. A government is a group of people that makes laws for a community, a state, or a country. In many communities, citizens choose the members of government. Government members meet to talk about and solve problems. Boys and girls, if you look over here, you can see citizens at a town meeting talk about community laws. So I remember the word government by the word group of people that makes laws for a community. Government starts with G and group starts with G. So our government is a group of people that makes laws for a community or the state that we live in, which is Ohio, and our country. Boys and girls, you're going to learn a lot about government in chapters followed by chapter 1. Maybe people of your community's government, you might have a mayor, a town council, or a city council. For our state, we have a governor, we have Congress, and for our country, part of the government is our president and our congressmen members. You'll learn more about government in future chapter ahead. So boys and girls, that is our social studies lesson for this week. Make sure you go ahead and complete the assessment.